All right, so says the Rebbe in this mimer. The mimer is called Gefen Mitzrayim Tasiya. It was said in 1927 by the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe when he was released from prison but sent to exile to a place called Kostroma. And we learned yesterday that the Rebbe likens the Jewish people. He actually takes a sentence from Tehillim and he brings from the Gemara in Chulin that the Jewish people are like a cluster of grapes. The Talmidei Chachamim, the people that are learning Torah, those are what with the grapes. And the simple people, they are the leaves. And the Ami Oretz, the working men, the regular working men, that they learn Torah sometimes, and they are the branches. And the empty Jews, the Jews that don't have any Torah or any commandments or anything like that, they're like the twigs. They're twigs that stick out. Good. Okay, Zeu. Let's take the second paragraph. We're in the second paragraph now. You don't have a copy of this page? Is there another? No, there's another copy? No, I made two, didn't I? Oh, Mr. Smith has one? No. Okay, good, I'm sorry. V'zeu, that's what it means. We're on the second paragraph. V'zeu, that's what it means. Gefen mi Mitzrayim Tasiya. That God took the Jews out of Egypt. They were like a cluster of grapes. All sorts of different elements involved. Different types of Jews. The Gefen Aim Yisrael. This idea of Gefen, these are the Jews. The Jews are the cluster of grapes. But Pirish Tasiya, what does it mean? The Jewish people were made to travel out of Egypt. Tasiya means made to travel. Haim, this is Mem Beit Masot. These are the 42 journeys. Shaholchu Yisrael, that the Jewish people made. Bamidbar, in the desert. But Satan, when they went out, Mitzrayim, when they left Egypt. Right, the Torah tells us that the Jewish people were miraculously taken by God out of Egypt, and they were taken directly to Mount Sinai. It took them a while. It says 50 days to get to Mount Sinai. They were taken to Mount Sinai, and then after that they made altogether from the going out of Egypt until they reached Israel 42 journeys. 42 journeys. God, first of all, the whole question is, why did God even put them in Egypt in the first place? Why couldn't it have been that Abraham lived in Israel? He was there for a while. God told him, Lech Lecha. He went to the land of Israel. Why couldn't he have just stayed there and given birth to the Jewish people, and the Jewish people grow up, and then this would be our land? Why did it have to be all this wandering? The Jewish people wandered around. Abraham wandered around. The only one who didn't wander around was Yitzchak. But Yaakov also, he had to go to Shechem, he had to go to the Aliv Shechem, he had to work for his father-in-law. And the Jewish people went into Egypt. They were slaves there for hundreds of years. And then God took them out. Why did it have to be this? Why did the Jewish people have to wander around so much? And even after they left Egypt, God could have done what they wanted to. God could have taken them immediately to the land of Israel and given them. No, it took 50 days till they got to the Torah. They received they went to the Sinai desert, and they received the Torah. They had to wander. All the Jewish people, millions of them, they were all together, a wandering nation. And I don't think there's ever been such a thing, even vaguely, in the history of the world. I know there were in South Africa, there were the people, the Afrikaans, exactly what exactly they did, but they made some sort of a trek, some sort of a big movement from one place to another, and they likened that to the Jewish people leaving Egypt. They wanted to have in America, they wanted to have one of the signs of America, was the symbol of America, was the Jews crossing the sea. Crossing the sea, because the American people, they crossed over the Atlantic Ocean, and they made and because this is an idea that inspired the minds, fired up the minds of humanity, Right? Incredible. Even in the science fiction books, you don't see a thing like this. The most bizarre fiction stories. 3 million people wandering around in the desert, right? From place to place, camping here, camping there, camping there. 42 times they camped.
The question is, what were they doing?
So why did God make them do this? What was the point? So let's see. And we see that since then also the same thing. Jews have been wandering around. After the first temple was destroyed, the Jews were all taken to Babylon. And then not all of them came back to Israel. And then they were scattered. They started to get scattered around the world. And after the second temple was destroyed, the Jews were really scattered everywhere. And that scattered has been going on now for 2,000 years. And the Jewish people nevertheless have retained their identity and their cohesiveness in some ways or other, which is that's even the most bizarre thing in the world, because if you look and you see the Jewish people, there's maybe no more contentious and argumentative people than the Jews. Right? One of the main books of the Jewish religion is the Talmud. And the Talmud is all arguments. So why is this? How can it be that the Jewish people stayed together and they had all these journeys? Okay, you with me, Felix? That's what it means, Gefem Mitzrayim Tasiyah. That's what it means that a grapevine, Mitzrayim from Egypt, Tasiyah, was made to travel. Tasiyah means made to travel. To Gefen Heim Yisrael, that this grapevine are the Jews. Uperish Tasiyah, what it means that they traveled. Heim Mem Beit Masot. These are the 42 journeys. Shaholchu, that went, Yisrael, B'midbar, in the desert. B'tzeitem, when they left Egypt. Hine, behold, Tam Davar, the reason for this thing, Ma, that, She Yisrael, that the Jews, Nimshalu, are compared, Legefen, to a grapevine. Ita b'midrash Rabbah, it says in the Midrash Rabbah in Shmot, Perik Mem Daled, Ma HaGefen, just like a grape. Kesharotzim lashbicho, if you want to make it better, improve it. Okrim oto, you uproot it. See the word? Do you have the word? You could write that down if you want. Write it down. See the last word on the line? Okrim. Okrim, you uproot oto it. Mimakom, from its mimakom zeh, from one place. V'shotlim oto, and you transplant it. B'makom acher, in another place. Yeah, I'm not an agronome, so I don't know exactly what this, if it's really true to nowadays. But if it says in the Midrash, it must be true. A grapevine, if you want to improve it, what do? You move it to different ground. Move it to better ground. Kach Yisrael, also the Jewish people. Akra and Mitzrayim, they were moved out. They were uprooted from Egypt. Ve'ivim, and they were brought Lemidbar, to the desert. V'hatchila, in the beginning. Matzlichim, they succeeded. They got better.
Just one second about the grapes. It's very interesting that really good grapes, not the kind that you use for making really expensive.
Felix, can you push that the lever, the how do you say the levers there? Just push it up, so that it's not blowing directly on me. Thank you.
That they use for the best wines. These grapes are
just push it up a little bit. That's right.
In ground that's not really hospitable.
That's good. Good. Thank you. What?
They grow these grapes in ground that's really not hospitable. The grapes got to work to make a good grape. Very interesting.
Good. V'techila matzlichim. In the beginning, the Jews were in Egypt, and they were very successful in Egypt as far as under the conditions. They multiplied and they were fruitful. And then they were moved out. God took them out, and He moved them into the desert. And in the beginning, they succeeded. They kiblu at the Torah, and they received the Torah. Vihigdimu, and they preceded. Na'aseh, saying Na'aseh. Le nishma, to nishma. If I'm going too fast, tell me. I can go slower. They preceded Na'aseh, and they said nishma. So there we see that benefiting the Jews, that's why the Jews received the Torah, that's putting them in a new place. And then after that, God moved them again. He moved them to the land of Israel. Improved them. But Tzorich Laham, we have to understand, Ma Hamala Hazeh, what is so great? That's what it says in the Midrash. The Jewish people left Egypt and they went into the desert and they became tremendously improved. They said, Naaseh before Nishma. Now what does that mean? Do you know what it means, Felix? What does it mean? Naaseh before Nishma. What does Naaseh and Nishma mean? Oh, this is very important. Naaseh means we will do. Nishma means we will understand. God took the Torah. It says that God took the Torah and He went around to all the other nations. They say He went around to the chief angels of all the other nations. And He asked them if they wanted the Torah. And all the chief angels said, well, what's written in the Torah? And God told them exactly what they didn't want to hear. Exactly what was against their nature. To one nation of murderers, He said, don't murder. They said, we can't take the Torah. Another nation of thieves said, we can't, don't steal. We can't take the Torah. Another nation of licentious people said, Altin Of, don't be licentious. You have to be faithful to your wife. Homosexuality, they said, we can't take it. He went to the Jews, and he said, you want the Torah? And the Jews said, we'll take it and we'll understand it. We're not asking any questions. We'll take it and we'll understand it. I always thought that the reason was that God did this was because no matter what God would have said to the Jews, they would have said, no, we don't want it. If He would have said, honor your mother and father, keep Shabbos, we don't want. Jews don't like to be told what to do. The miraculous thing is that the Jews said, we'll do whatever you say, God. Anything you say. And then we'll understand it. In other words, we know that only by doing can we understand. Now, it's very rare that a person is willing to do a thing like that. Right? Would you like to buy a gnamer? What does that mean? Buy it and you'll see. You'll like it. Okay, I'll take it. Who does a thing like that? Right? The Jews didn't know what was in the Torah. They didn't know what was there. They got a few commandments before. But now there's going to get more commandments. Is that Mara they had come. All of a sudden there's the Jewish people, all of them, they said, we'll do whatever you say, God, and then we'll understand. They're very amazing. This is a totally different attitude of a whole nation. Says the Rebbe, what is so great about this? Ma she'ikdimu na'aseh l'nishma. That which they preceded, we will do before we will understand. Ad until shezehu kol inyan hatzlacha. That this is what the Midrash says. This is the success of the Jews. They were taken out of Egypt and they were brought into the desert, and there was a tremendous success. What's the success? They said, Na'aseh before Nishma. They said, we'll do before we will. Good, it's a very unusual thing, but it's so big of a success. What's so successful? The Kabbalah Torah, when they received the Torah. Sheikdimu, that they preceded Na'aseh before Nishma. Good? But Ha'inyan hu, the Inyan is. There's a lot of people also now in Judaism also that they won't do anything until they understand. And the main thing of Judaism for them is understanding. The more that they can understand Torah, Gemara, this, the better. That's wonderful. That's a very good thing to understand. What about doing the commandments? Not that important. Why not? Because you don't really understand them. Any fool can do the commandments. Any fool can do the commandments. There's no big accomplishment. To learn Torah, this is a big accomplishment, which is true. It is a big accomplishment. But that becomes the main thing in Judaism, is the accomplishments that you have. Says the Rebbe, Na'aseh v'nishma. The reason you should be learning Torah is because God wants you to learn Torah. God wants you to know the whole Torah. The same way that God wants you to do all the commandments. Na'aseh before Nishma. Says the Rebbe, but at second glance, it's really not such a great thing. What's so really big about it? saying we'll do before we understand. It's sort of a very simple, stupid attitude in a way. Right? Whatever you tell me, I'll do. That's so great. Let's see. Ach en yenhu. It's like this. Tehine kasiv. It says, Se'umaru menechem. Look up, lift up to above your eyes. V'ra'u, and see. Mi bora ele. Who created these? Judaism is appreciation of God. You have to appreciate God. How you appreciate God? One way is take David Amelech, King David's advice. Sa'u, lift up. Morom, above. Einechem, your eyes. Ura'u, and see. Mi bora ele. Who created these? Who created the stars? Can you even conceive of someone creating a star? Can you even conceive of something like that? Where did they come from? How did they get? Yeshiva Zohar, it says in the Zohar, Mi, Ele, these two words. Mi, Bora Ele, the words Mi and Ele, Haim, they are Tziruf, a combination, Shem, Elohim. Ele and Yud Mem. Elohim. Look up above and see who created these. That's the name Elohim. Now, there's a lot of different names of God. Elohim is one of them. It says, lift up your eyes above and see who created these. This, who, the, me, Ela, these are the letters of Elohim. Shakolel Beit Tevot, that it includes two words, me, who, and Ele, biyachad, together. Hine, behold. That's what it says. Where does it say that? It says in the Zohar. In the Zohar that me and Ele, that's the name Elohim. Hine. Now the Rebbe is going to give us a big lesson on how to appreciate God. Hine. Okay.